Okay, here's a story that I wrote. It's a true story. Back in July of this year, 2011, and it's all about my cat Napoleon, a Bonaparte, and a little squirrel that came around to join the cat, and we eventually named him Sparky. Anyways, Philip Morris is my name, and the pictures were done by my wife Dorothy. And since it cost so much to produce this book, it would wind up going retail for about $20 a piece. So I decided to put it on YouTube, and then everybody could see it. And if they want to send money, they can send some money to me. That's fine with me. Anyways, this book is dedicated to cats, squirrels, and weasels. And acknowledgments. I'd like to acknowledge my wife Dorothy Morris. Her nickname for the last 47 years has been Wheeze, and she's always called me Weasel. I'd also like to acknowledge my sister Bobby for taking the time and the trouble to type all this up and make it into a book. Anyways, here's the story, folks. April 2011. Back 5 years ago, my wife Dorothy and I were down at my daughter's home in Baileyborough, Ontario. The driveway is about 600 feet long, totally encased with cedar trees forming a tunnel to an enchanted place. The large farmhouse is on top of a hill surrounded by beautiful gardens anyone can see unobstructed for 10 miles from any direction. And so much for all that. And my daughter Carrie is married to Terry Gow, and they have 3 beautiful children, Jasher, Kalea, and Saxon. On a very memorable Sunday, the grandchildren showed us some 5-week-old kittens that were playing in the house. My youngest granddaughter, Kalea, said, "You gotta take one, Papa." And there was one that looked like Sylvester the cat, black and white with a black belted tuxedo. That's him right there. And the kids had named him Napoleon Bonaparte. He was the runt of the family, and he was always by himself. My granddaughter, Kalea, said, "He's tiny, Papa. He sleeps all day. You'll love him." What could I say? So enter Napoleon. Kalea was right. The first day he did sleep all day. Then after that, look out. He was flying through the air from the tables to the chairs. And he had talons, not toenails. And he started ripping everything in sight, including me. We took him to the vet, and life became very good. I have had 5 or 6 dogs in my life and only 1 cat. And I honestly believe dogs want to be people, but cats want to be gods. And that's me and Napoleon right there. I'm the only guy in Peterborough, Ontario who's got a palm tree in his backyard. Anyways, and my wife had a shot of film that day, and she took this picture of Napoleon the cat and Sparky the squirrel right here. Sparky was talking to Napoleon in cat language and squirrel language. Friday, May 27, 2011, about 5:30 p.m. My wife was sitting out in the front porch when suddenly a big racket started in the lilac bush at the side of our house. A big sandy-colored cat darted across the road. 2 beautiful red cardinals went flying by, and 2 blue jays were jaying at the top of their lungs. That's 2 blue jays right there. I'll vouch for that. I walked over to the lilac bush to see what was going on. I peeked in, and there was a small squirrel about 8 feet above my head and only about 2 feet above a bird's nest. I shook the branches, but to no avail. I thought to myself, whatever will be, and started back to walking towards my porch. I had just crossed my gravel drive and had walked about 10 feet across my lawn when suddenly everything went quiet. I turned around, and there, nibbling at my toes, a baby squirrel. Little guy right there, little squirrel. I couldn't believe it. I reached down, and he jumped on my hand. I rubbed his head and his belly, and when I did, he must have been ticklish because his right leg started bouncing up and down. I walked back to the porch and showed my wife Dorothy I decided to take him to my back garden that is like my own private park. I walked back up the drive to the porch, and when I got to the top step, Dorothy said, "Phil, the squirrel's back." I reached down with my hand, and because he was so small, so trusting, so timid, so cute, he jumped on my hand, and I handed him to my wife. She took him back to the garden, not once but 3 times. Did she take him back? The little guy just came back, and we decided to name the little squirrel Sparky. A song flashed through my brain: for once in my life I have someone who needs me. I know I couldn't leave him around in the front of our house. There was too many cars, so I took him back to the back of our Florida room, where I just finished building a house for Napoleon Bonaparte, our cat. And that's the house. I managed to put it outside in front of my shed right there. And here's Napoleon. He's looking for Sparky in the flower garden. Dorothy and I had placed Napoleon's house 2 feet back from the sliding glass doors. I had placed a piece of cloth on the floor of Napoleon's house. As soon as I saw Sparky, saw the cloth, he ran inside and pulled the cloth over his head. Then he got up, ran out, bounced down the 3 steps to the patio. He picked up 2 maple leaves that had been there for about 6 months, turned and ran back up the steps, jumped under the cloth on the floor of Napoleon's house, and made himself a pillow and went to sleep. And I closed the door. Next morning, he was right back in my hand again. I'm 74 years old. Nothing has ever happened to me like this before. All day Saturday, Sparky followed me around. I'm not doing this over twice, folks. Just do it once. Follow me around, always at my heels, all through the house. And there he is, Sparky, right up my toes right there. See that? Right there. There he is. He wants a drink of wine. Don't worry, folks. We're moving along here as if we all know what we're doing. Sparky in my garden on the path. Well, you got to look close. Oh, there he is. Right there. Yeah. Right beside the palm tree. Yeah. There he is. Yeah. And he was just like a little baby. Okay, here's a good one, Kalea. Sparky and me.